How Cape Verde shocked the world and made history in the 2026 World Cup. Most people couldn't even point to Cape Verde on a map. Yet somehow this tiny island nation walked into the biggest tournament on Earth and had football giants looking over their shoulders. A country with barely 500,000 people wasn't supposed to be here. It wasn't supposed to survive the group stage. And it definitely wasn't supposed to push one of the tournament favorites to the absolute limit. So, how did Cape Verde become the biggest surprise of the 2026 World Cup? The answer starts long before the tournament even kicked off. For years, Cape Verde lived in the shadow of African football's biggest names. Countries like Morocco, Senegal, and Nigeria always grabbed the headlines. Cape Verde, they were usually the underdog nobody paid much attention to. But that's exactly where this story gets interesting. Instead of relying on one superstar, they built something much harder to stop. A team that worked as a single unit. Most of their players competed across Europe. Not always at the biggest clubs, but in competitive leagues where discipline mattered every single weekend. On paper, they didn't look scary. On the pitch, they were a nightmare. They defended with incredible organization, stayed compact, and exploded forward the moment opponents made a mistake. It wasn't flashy football. It was brutally efficient. Then came the World Cup. Almost everyone expected Cape Verde to be just another team making up the numbers. Instead, they started collecting points and frustrating opponents that looked much stronger on paper. Every match followed the same script. The favorites controlled possession. Cape Verde controlled the danger. And as confidence grew, something unexpected happened. People stopped calling them the underdog. They started calling them the team nobody wanted to face. You know how tournaments always have that one surprise nation? This was it. By the time the group stage ended, Cape Verde had done the impossible. They had qualified for the knockout stage, the round of 32, the first time in the country's history. For a nation of just over 500,000 people, that alone was already a football miracle. But they weren't finished. Standing in their way was Argentina, world champions, global superstars, a team worth hundreds of millions. On paper, this should have been over before kickoff. In practice, it became one of the most entertaining matches of the tournament. Cape Verde refused to sit back. They attacked. They countered. They matched Argentina's intensity for long stretches of the game. Every time the favorites looked ready to pull away, Cape Verde found another response. For a moment, the impossible actually felt possible. Eventually, Argentina escaped with a dramatic 3-2 victory. Cape Verde's World Cup was over, but something much bigger had happened. They had earned the respect of the football world. This wasn't a lucky run. This was proof that modern football is changing. Organization can compete with talent. Belief can challenge history. And a country smaller than many cities showed millions of fans that heart still matters at the highest level. Cape Verde may not have lifted the trophy, but they left the tournament as one of its greatest stories. And if they can do this today, who says they can't go even further at the next World Cup? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe because football is full of unbelievable stories. And this is only the beginning.